Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to GloryPunch Highlights. Tonight, we witness a high-stakes battle in the welterweight division. In one corner, the undefeated rising challenger with dangerous knockout power, Diosbelys Hurtado. And in the opposite corner, a four-division world champion, a defensive genius, the legend himself, Pernell "Sweet Pea" Whitaker. Experience versus hunger, skill versus power, but one mistake can change everything in an instant. Whitaker is known for his slick defense, but early in fights, he can be tested, and Hurtado is here to do exactly that. Before we begin, some visuals are sourced from Alleyway Boxing. Full credit to the original creators, link in description. Now, let's get into the action.
As the opening bell sounds, the tension inside the arena instantly erupts into action, and all eyes are locked on Pernell Whitaker as he faces the undefeated challenger, Diosbelys Hurtado. Expectations are high for the seasoned champion, a master technician known for his defensive brilliance. But within seconds, the narrative takes a shocking turn. Hurtado wastes no time, unleashing a perfectly timed right hand that crashes through Whitaker's guard and sends him to the canvas. The crowd gasps in disbelief, as Whitaker, usually untouchable, is suddenly vulnerable. Yet even in that moment, he rises with a grin, almost laughing it off, as if to remind everyone that he has been here before. Still, the danger is real. Hurtado's confidence surges, knowing he has already done what few fighters could, drop a legend early. Whitaker begins to circle, trying to regain composure, but there is a noticeable tension in his movement. The early knockdown has changed the tone completely, turning what many expected to be a technical showcase into a dangerous, unpredictable battle where one mistake could define everything. As the fight settles into the following rounds, Whitaker attempts to re-establish control using his signature style: sharp jabs, slick head movement, and elusive footwork. However, something feels different. His legs don't appear as fluid as they once were, and Hurtado continues to press forward with relentless energy. Every time Whitaker tries to find his rhythm, Hurtado interrupts it with aggressive bursts and wild looping punches that carry real danger. The Cuban challenger may lack polish, but he makes up for it with unpredictability and raw determination. Whitaker begins to stalk more than dance, stepping forward behind his jab and trying to impose his experience. Gradually he starts landing cleaner shots, snapping Hurtado's head back and forcing him to retreat. Yet even as Whitaker gains momentum, Hurtado remains a constant threat, always capable of landing something explosive. The contrast in styles creates a fascinating dynamic: precision versus chaos, where the outcome remains uncertain despite Whitaker's growing control. By the middle rounds, the fight evolves into a gritty and physically demanding contest. Whitaker starts to find success, putting together combinations and targeting openings with increasing confidence. His jab becomes more consistent and his timing sharper, allowing him to dictate longer stretches of the action. However, Hurtado refuses to fade away. He continues to throw punches from awkward angles, often catching Whitaker off guard and forcing him to stay alert at all times. The fight becomes messy at moments, with clinches, rough exchanges, and even questionable shots adding to the tension. At one point, Whitaker is forced to deal with another knockdown situation, raising doubts about his durability and conditioning. The crowd senses the drama unfolding, reacting to every exchange with heightened excitement. Whitaker, despite the adversity, shows the heart of a champion, adjusting his strategy and pushing forward, determined not to let the fight slip away. As the later rounds approach, fatigue begins to show on both fighters, but it affects Diosbelys Hurtado more noticeably. His punches, once explosive and unpredictable, start to lose their sharpness, and his footwork becomes heavier with each passing exchange. Meanwhile, Pernell Whitaker begins to look more composed, more settled, as if the storm he weathered earlier has only sharpened his focus. He starts to press forward with authority, stepping into range behind a disciplined jab and following it with clean, accurate combinations. The difference in experience becomes increasingly clear. Whitaker is no longer reacting, he is controlling. Hurtado still fires back in bursts, swinging with determination and desperation, but his timing is off, and his energy is fading. Whitaker capitalizes on every mistake, slipping punches and countering with surgical precision. The crowd senses the momentum shift, growing louder with every clean shot landed by the champion. Yet the danger never fully disappears. Hurtado, even exhausted, remains capable of throwing something wild and unexpected. That constant threat forces Whitaker to stay locked in, balancing his aggression with caution. It's a tense, high-stakes battle, where one fighter is fading but refusing to fall, and the other is rising, determined to close the show in emphatic fashion. Then, in the final moments of the fight, everything builds to a dramatic and unforgettable climax. Whitaker, now fully confident and in control, turns up the intensity, unleashing a relentless barrage of punches that push Hurtado back toward the ropes. Each shot is thrown with precision and purpose. Sharp jabs, crisp hooks, and perfectly timed counters that begin to overwhelm the challenger. Hurtado tries to respond, his heart refusing to quit, but his body can no longer keep up. He leans against the ropes, absorbing shot after shot, his defense breaking down under the pressure. The crowd rises to its feet as the champion senses the finish, pouring on combinations in a flurry that leaves no doubt about who is in command. The referee watches closely, hesitating for a moment as Hurtado struggles to stay upright, then finally steps in to stop the fight. It's over. The arena erupts as Pernell Whitaker is declared the winner, retaining his title in a fight that pushed him to his absolute limits. It wasn't a flawless performance. It was something even more compelling. It was a display of resilience, intelligence, and championship heart. Diosbelys Hurtado may have come up short, but he proved he belonged on the biggest stage, pushing a legend to the brink and earning respect in defeat. In the end, Whitaker didn't just win. He survived, adapted, and reminded the world why true champions always find a way.
What a wild and unpredictable fight we've just witnessed. Pernell Whitaker was tested like never before, dropped early, pushed to the limit. But champions always find a way. Diosbelys Hurtado came in fearless, landing big shots and creating real danger throughout the fight. But in the end, experience, composure, and elite skill made the difference. Whitaker turned the fight around in dramatic fashion, unleashing a brutal finishing sequence that forced the referee to step in. A late stoppage victory, and still, the WBC welterweight champion of the world. If you enjoyed this fight, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to GloryPunch Highlights. Turn on the bell for more legendary boxing moments. Sweet Pea survives, and proves why legends never break.